All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's go, man.
All right, here we go.
Whee!
So you guys appear on a pretty wide, old-looking bridge. There are cobwebs everywhere. Dust and rubble are everywhere. It's way cleaner in this map than it actually appears. So the portal basically dumps you out right there and disappears. And like there are footsteps in sort of the debris and dust, but for the most part, this has not seen a lot of action. This area, but you do see sort of like a haggard old dwarven woman sort of milling around at the front of the bridge.
Can I do perception to see if I recognize it?
I'll just tell you, you don't. But she has the similar features of a Firebeard. She has like graying red hair and a red beard.
Okay, and Burin doesn't exactly recognize the place that they're in currently?
You know, Burin has never been here. No.
Okay, gotcha. He'd probably approach the dwarf and make a greeting and ask where they're located at this point in time.
She like kind of like hobbles up to you and says, let me look at you. And she's like looking you up and down and like touching your arms and grabbing your butt. and she says, you are a Longbeard, but I can tell that you have some Firebeard in you. And she says, tell me, who are you and how have you come to be here?
Do I know? Does Burin know his mother's name?
No.
Okay. He would explain his origin and give the background on what they're looking for, and say that yes, his mother was a Firebeard, but he unfortunately didn't know her.
She says, did you say your name is Burin, son of Balin?
Aye.
She says, oh, son, please come, and she throws a bunch of rubble off of a few crates, and she's like, sit. She says, let me tell you the truth of your heritage. And she says, welcome to Mount Dolmed, the once great hall. You are in the once great halls of Nogrod. And this is also in the Blue Hills lore card. So Nogrod was we're actually like one of the first founding. It's the place where the Firebeard patriarch woke up in the mountain, and it was also like it was very close to a city named Belagost, and they were remember the black swords that Fëanor and Durin were wielding. Well, the smith Ale, the one that made the swords, this is where he came to learn his smithing. This is the dwarves that built the Noglamir, the necklace of the dwarves, the one that the elf was killed for. It was made by the dwarves of Nogrod. And so in some ways this is a homecoming for Burin. And she says, I don't know why they kept your heritage from you, but you are not the son of Balin.
What?
You are the foster son of Balin.
Oh no. Yeah, he would be kind of like defensive at that, I figure.
She says it's true that your mother was a Firebeard, but you are, she says, you are son of Dain, king of under the mountain. And
it's better than Balin.
What's that?
I guess it is.
which would explain why they sort of kept you under in Erebor. But it also changes your lineage quite a bit.
Yeah, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Big difference. Yeah.
And okay, so I'll just you can ask her anything you want. I have one other thing I want to share with you, but if it comes out sort of organically, that's even better.
Wait, so was Burin like raised? Dain was the king in Erebor when Burin was there, right?
Correct.
And Balin wasn't there. He was in.
No, Balin.
Right?
No, Balin was there. So remember that Durin's Bane, the Balrog, had basically kicked everyone out of Moria. And in fact, in the Third Age, a lot of the Firebeard dwarves ended up back in the Blue Mountains because they had gone to live in Khazad-dûm, and when the Balrog kicked everybody out, some people went to the Iron Hills, some people went to the Blue Hills, the Blue Mountains. Sorry, and so there are, the last time you were here, there were dwarves in the mountains, but again, you're here like 120 years later, from when you left, when you set sail from Middle Earth. It's way later. So you definitely don't. You've never been to this site before. This is an amazing. You had never dreamed that you would find like the bridge at Nogrod.
So would these guys potentially know how to make that sword?
Well, she does not, and there doesn't appear to be anybody else around.
Yeah, Burin would be. So he would be pretty stunned about this news, obviously, but he would also, in kind of his disbelief, want to hear something from somebody else. So he'd ask, like, "Where are the rest of your people?"
She laughs and she says, "Our people's time is at an end, for the most part. We." She laughs and she said that men have sort of overrun the hills and the lands, and our people are sort of going back to the earth. She says we don't fit into the histories, into the prophecies of men and elves. The elves, in fact, have not been seen in this land for some time. She says, I'm one of the few Firebeards left here in the Blue Mountains. She says, but if you have not been told a true dwarf's prophecy, allow me to tell you a story. She says, she says, I have heard of the prophecy of Mandos. I've heard the elves, the visiting elves, talk of them. I've heard the Dunedain over the years talk of them. The rangers from the north talk about the prophecies, but the prophecy of our people goes like this. A hero of mixed blood and lost heritage will rise and rekindle the forge of Durin. He will be the 7th in line and the 7th in number with the awakened lords of old. They are the last children of Aule and will serve him and aid him in the remaking of Arda after the last battle. And this is in your lore cards.
Okay. And this is something he would have never heard before, correct?
Yeah, no, you've not. I mean, you know that basically dwarves have a theory that they came from the earth and will eventually go back to the earth, and that's something that they're actually proud of. It's almost like their Valhalla, right? Like, but you've not heard of it like this, and you're not sure exactly what that means. You guys are welcome to take a guess. 7th in line and 7th in number with the awakened lords of old.
So 7th in the line of since Durin, right? Or something like that.
She says, you're a smart one. She says, Durin, also called Durin the Deathless. There have been 6 incarnations of the man. It's prophesied that there will be 7.
Didn't Silvermore also make 7 rings for the dwarves back in the day?
It's true, it's their number.
That's
the number, man.
She says, another smart one. That's right. There are 7 tribes, or 7 clans of the dwarves. The Longbeards, the Broadbeams, the Firebeards, the Iron Fists, the Stiffbeards, the Blacklocks, and the Stonefoot.
Been around a while, huh?
She just keels over and dies. No, not really.
What is it? She waited all that time just for that.
So I feel like Burin would be pretty taken aback at like this news that he'd just be kind of like trying to contemplate everything and be kind of clueless to what the next move is. So I don't know.
So she would recognize this, and she would say, "What are you doing here? Surely you didn't come hoping to hear fairy tales of an old Firebeard. What brings you to Nogrod?"
Burin would state that the realm that they had just came from, and speak of their quest to stop the darkness and locate one of the is it Palantiri? Is that what they're looking for?
Somewhere else.
Emerald, that's right. So he would say that they're on a quest to find the second of 3 Cimarrons.
She says, darling, please don't end up like that madman on the coast.
And he would say, what madman do you speak of? Is he a dwarf?
He's an elf. One of the few in the land. The only, in fact, that I can remember seeing.
An elf there?
Not in the halls of the dwarf, she laughs and slaps her knee. She says, he's wandering the shores, looking for a lost treasure, he says.
It's the guy we were just talking about.
Yeah. Burin would ask if she knows this elf's name.
No, she doesn't know his name. If you head west, essentially, to the ocean, and he seems to favor an area that's a little more depressed, and it's kind of like almost in like a cleft or the beginning of a pass in the Blue Mountains. You don't know if there was like archaeological or like geographical significance to this, but it looks like maybe it was the beginning of a pass in an earlier age, and you don't know when Beleriand was up and there wasn't just ocean there, what it looked like, but she says that he seems to basically stay in that cleft.
Burin, he would kind of realize that this is someone that we want to talk to probably and get going on the quest, so he'd be like kind of happy and just like reach over and grab the dwarf and like plant a big kiss on her and be like, thank you, we really do have to go though, we're in a hurry. He says, are you going to be alright up here alone?
She says, my time will come soon enough, and so will yours. And she winks at you.
Burin gives her a little pat on the butt and he's like, let's go, guys.
Alright.
Did you make it a pass at him?
Hey, you don't see female dwarfs very often. You got to take advantage when you can.
Well, it's the beards.
That's right. And it's been settled. I've answered that age-old question. They have beards.
That's right.
There's a lot of message boards out there that would argue with you.
That's just fine. There's a lot in this campaign that people would love to argue about. All right, guys. All right, so you guys take the old woman's advice, and you sort of travel down the mountainside, and you walk for some time, and you basically you see the ocean in the distance, and you have a ranger with you, so it's not a big deal, and you do find this sort of the beginning of this pass that they're talking about. What would have been a pass in an earlier age, and you sort of walk along it, and you come to the shoreline, and you see an elf, a very sort of. I described the old woman as haggard, but if there is ever a haggard elf, it would be this person in front of you. And the really disquieting thing is that you see it's like a mirror image, and he's like staring at this mirror image of himself. And the waves are basically lapping at their ankles, and they have swords drawn, but neither is advancing on each other. They're just looking at each other in sort of disbelief, and they both have sort of crazy look to their eyes.
And have we heard? I guess she didn't know his name, did she? I was going to say, have we heard of this elf before?
Well, Ingwe did tell you that this would be the Silmaril of Maglor that you're looking for. So if there's an elf aimlessly wandering the shores of Middle Earth looking for something, and all the other elves have gone, you can be sure that this is Maglor.
Okay.
And so, MJ, this would be one of your lost kin, like famed lost kin. Like you would, you may have even met Maglor in the past. Basically.
Yeah, we probably crossed paths. Maybe it doesn't look that familiar to me, though. Might have been a while.
It's been a long time. Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody else think anything of John, Max, Marco? You guys, you basically see two of the same person staring at each other at the waves.
What's up, bad? What's up, bad? Foreboding.
Burin would be like, two elves are so damn.
No, they're just twins.
So, what's the over-under on us having to fight both of them at once?
I bet we have to decide which one's the real Magnum.
Oh, good call.
So they start to advance on each other, and they start parrying and stuff.
Burin would yell out Maglor, like yell it really loud.
What, do they both turn and face us?
They're in combat right now, so neither of them look.
So Burin would probably ask Zelindor if he knows any features or any way that we could distinguish, like which one of these two was Maglor, or if there was some sort of magic at work, or if he knew any way to distinguish him.
I mean, maybe a perception check. Honestly, it's been so long. Zelindor, recognizes him, knew he met him, but hasn't seen him in so long that he wouldn't be able to identify anything that would distinguish one from the other, and they look almost exactly the same. Can I do a perception?
You can do a perception, yes. They look identical to you.
Damn it. Sorry, not much help.
No, you're good. I don't know if Burin would be clever enough to... Holy shit! What is that?
Where?
The Tessero rolled a 20 with a...
Oh, good lord.
So,
Tessero notices one ball hair is different on one mag.
So it was going to take a crit for you guys to notice something. Unfortunately, Tessero has no frame of reference. Has no sort of arcane. Tessero doesn't. What does he have any arcane levels? Probably not.
Yeah. He's a druid too.
Yeah, he's a druid.
So, I was just going to say, this is hard for me because I feel like Anglin would have had another idea, but I guess Burin's probably not clever enough. But I was going to say, would there be any way that Zelindor, how do you say your name? Sorry, Zelindor?
Zelindor, yeah.
Would know, a famed story of Maglor that we could like lie about and see if the other one claims it. You know what I mean? Like something that he didn't do, and if one of them claimed it or whatever.
Oh, that is clever.
But Burin probably wouldn't think of that because he's a dwarf. And
So let's hold on to that thought. I think that's a good thought. Let's come back to that. I wanted to acknowledge Tessero's role.
that is legit role.
So Tessero notices some inconsistencies with the just little things, movements, even on the items that they're fighting with. There are some differences, some mostly like coloration differences. They're not exactly the same. They don't move exactly the same. But other than that, like you don't have a huge amount of experience with elves or with like if there is magic involved, you don't really can't. You notice a very small difference between the two.
Huh.
So anyway, back to Christian's idea. That was a good one.
Is there anything like you can pick out? Like one has, like nothing you can put is like the left one has a longer sword than the right one, or that sort of thing, or like anything you can actually like.
Yeah. So the I'm just I'll do everything by color. Does that work?
Yeah.
So purple has a little longer of a sword. And actually purple speaks at this time too and says, I will not tell you where the treasure is. And the yellow says, I will not tell you where the treasure is.
Right.
Yeah, so going back, you said my idea was clever. I feel dirty doing it as Burin though, because that's totally not something a dwarf would think of. Like that was a total Anglin idea there. So I'm fine if we don't use that.
Well, somebody else could do it. I mean, if you want.
What was the idea again?
Like obviously, like some major story or some major lore. Like obviously, even an imposter would know that Maglor was like a keeper of that particular treasure. But if you came up with like a lie that you count out and said like, were you at this battle were you the hero of this battle or something, and the one claims it and the real one would obviously not, because he'd be like, no, I wasn't there, or you know what I mean? You try and trick the imposter into revealing something that's false. But
does anybody else want to do perception rolls or Arcana or whatever?
Not good enough, but
yeah. Whoa, that can't be
How
right.
does that even?
Yeah, no, that's possible. Marloman's picking his ass in the background. So like,
Marloman's like, there are elves.
Guys, there's two of them.
did you see that? One's purple.
What are we doing on a beach? Weren't we just in a mountain?
Yeah.
Have we gone through the portal yet?
So, anybody else want to roll? I do have another clue that I'd like to give somebody. But
I'd say Arcana would be a good roll too if anyone's actually adept in it. But I don't know if we have any like magic users, because that would at least tell us that there's no form of magic being performed, or what type of magic, I guess would be.
okay. Well, I'm gonna say I just saw John roll. We'll hold this off, I guess, and I'll hold this tidbit, this nugget of information back until somebody rolls something. But let's do turn order just to have it.
Trying to get us to kill the elf. It's nice to know that no matter what character I play, I can't roll initiative.
All right. Is that everybody?
What about the Hound?
Hound is not here right now. Hasn't been summoned.
Okay.
And we will put him on John's turn, I guess, once he is summoned.